We know only too well that war comes not when the forces of freedom are strong. It is when they are weak that tyrants are tempted. Of all the objectives we seek, first and foremost is the establishment of lasting world peace. But let our friends and those who may wish us ill take note. The United States has an obligation to its citizens and to the people of the world never to let those who would destroy freedom dictate the future course of life on this planet. There are no words to express the extraordinary strength and character of this breed of people we call American. They're concerned, yes. They're not frightened. They're disturbed, but not dismayed. They are the kind of men and women Tom Paine had in mind when he wrote during the darkest days of the American Revolution, "We have it in our power to begin the world over again." Ladies and gentlemen of our armed forces, on behalf of a grateful Commander-in-Chief, I salute you.
Well, a federal judge has blocked the Trump administration's attempt to prevent Harvard from enrolling international students. What are the judges getting involved in the presidential actions? Is that right? What do you think? Judge Hannah Dugan is helping a criminal watch.
He meets his attorney in the hallway and walks towards Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan's courtroom. Along the way, he passes plainclothes federal agents who are sitting on a bench. They are there to detain him. After Flores Ruiz walks by, the agents turn to each other and appear to confirm his identity amongst themselves. But a few moments later, Judge Dugan and another judge approach the agents sitting on the bench. A criminal complaint against Dugan later said she was alerted to their presence by a court official. That complaint says during this interaction, Dugan and the agents disagreed over the type of warrant they had to arrest Flores Ruiz. According to the complaint, Dugan ordered the agents to go to the chief judge's office. Video shows her pointing them through a double door. She then turns back to speak with other agents further down the hall and orders them through the doors as well. Shortly after that, with the agents gone from the hallway, Eduardo Flores Ruiz and his attorney exit into the hallway through a different door. As they walk down the hall toward the elevators, they pass another plainclothes federal agent. Neither they nor Judge Dugan seem to have noticed at the time. That agent motions to another to follow Flores Ruiz. Security video shows Flores Ruiz exiting through a basement exit. Upstairs on the 6th floor, the other agents have left the chief judge's office and worked their way downstairs. Flores Ruiz left the building onto 9th Street. Videos of the street shows the agents catching up to him. Flores Ruiz runs across 10th Street while trying to get away, but the agents catch him and arrest him.
DOJ pardon attorney Ed Martin says a whistleblower has come forward in the Biden Autopen scandal, naming Ron Klain, Anita Dunn, Bob Bauer, Steve Ricchetti, and Jill Biden as key operators. Investigators also found the same machine generated signatures on pardons for Fauci and Milley. I think what we need to do is take a look at the banks and see whether or not they received any money for doing that. That's treason. U.S. Senate to investigate who really ran the country under Biden. Senator Ron Johnson's initiative comes amid speculation of a cover-up that top after the ex-president was diagnosed with prostate cancer. U.S. Senator Ron Johnson, who chairs the Homeland Security Investigative Committee, is launching a probe into potential cover-up relating to the health of former President Joe Biden, the Republican lawmaker from Wisconsin, has announced. Last weekend, Biden's office revealed that he had been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. While some, including incumbent President Donald Trump, were quick to express sympathy, some commentators claimed the diagnosis had been long known but that the Democrats' inner circle and deliberately kept the public in the dark about it.
Been terrible.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So who is running it? Who are the names?
Steve Ricchetti, his senior advisor, Anita Dunn, Mike Donnellan, Ron Klain, Jeff Zients, Bob Bauer, his personal lawyer, who's actually his personal lawyer, who actually leased a book, basically grifting off his relationship with the Bidens. I'm going to get in so much trouble for saying all this. Please give me credit but these are the people who ran our country for the last 4 years.
Oh shit. Ninth Circuit judge has ruled that 84 of Biden's last-minute pardons are null and void. He says there is no precedent for pardoning somebody who hasn't committed a crime yet. The Ninth Circuit is a very liberal circuit. Judge Brown, I think. Anyways, all those pardons, all those people that thought they were in the clear, not so much, bro. It's on like Donkey Kong now. Like this and share it. There is hope yet to get our hands on these conspirators.
This is unbelievable. And explain to me how this is not treason. Watch this.
$40 million per week in taxpayer money is ending up in the hands of the Taliban. Cash is flown by charter jets into Afghanistan. It's auctioned off to the Taliban in order to exchange it for the Afghan currency. From there, the Taliban will get it to the NGOs who have to pay taxes on that money. The NGOs have to be approved by the Taliban. And every time the NGOs spend the money, the Taliban will take a cut. When the money is exchanged for the Afghan currency, the Taliban take a cut. The Taliban also determine who can receive foreign aid. Most of the time, these people are either Taliban or Al-Qaeda. These people are the sworn enemies that hate Christians and Jews and treat women like cattle. Why on earth are we allowing U.S. dollars to end up in their hands?
The summer of 2019, a massive transformer was seized at the Port of Houston by the U.S. federal government and the Department of Energy, put under federal escort to Sandia National Laboratory. This is during the Trump administration when we were serious about these things. Why? Why was that transformer seized? Why was it brought to Sandia?
Came from China?
Came from China. What did they find in it? Officially, we don't know. That report is still classified. But one of the Trump administration officials that worked at the National Security Council, Latham Sadler, he discussed on an interview how they had found a hardware backdoor in this transformer that would allow someone to remotely switch it off. That was 2019. May 1st, 2020, President Trump passed an executive order called Securing the Bulk Power System. President Trump declared a grid security emergency. At the time, our nonprofit was tracking the numbers of these things, these Chinese transformers. There's about 300 in the grid. That executive order was meant to address that threat. On the very first day of the Biden administration, that executive order was suspended and the floodgates were reopened to the importation of Chinese transformers. We pulled the numbers 2 weeks ago, 492.
Look at you.
You busted. You busted. Shame on you.
Ilhan Omar is worth $83 million after 8 years in Congress. Dick Blumenthal is worth $70 million. Now, I want to know how these Congress members on $175,000 to $215,000 taxpayer salaries turn that money into almost $100 million. Like, what's their secret sauce, right? Hardworking taxpayers across this country want to know how you do that, because we want to do it too.
I'm telling our audience, how much do you make?
I make exactly the same as every single senator, $174,000.
I make $174,000 a year.
Make $174,000 per year, the same as every U.S. Senator War. I think I made a total of $30,000. Worked at a meat packing factory in high school, and I was making $9 an hour. So This is a lot.
Ooh, a little bit more than $174,000 a year. I think they should be tried up. They lied, didn't they? I don't think you should be lying. If you're a public servant, you should not be lying to the public when they're asking you a question. It doesn't matter where you are. You're a public servant 24/7. That's what you signed up for.
Not 1.3 million. We sent $1.3 billion in checks to dead people. Those aren't my numbers. Those numbers come from the Office of Management and Budget. That's just 1 year. Not only is the federal government sending checks to dead people, those checks are being cashed. Now, I have heard, Mr. President, of dead people voting, but cashing the checks, you don't have to be God's perfect idiot to realize that there's fraud happening with respect to all this money. How much taxpayer money went out the door of the Department of Energy?
From the Loan Program Office in loans and commitments, $93 billion. Well over twice as much as in the previous 15 years.
How do you vet and do due diligence on a loan in 76 days?
I think it's probably pretty clear it wasn't done in many cases. Holding back clearly in place stuff, there is lots of funds that have gone out the door and commitments that were made from businesses that provided no business plan, no numbers about their own financial solvency or how this project
So you're telling me that the Department of Energy, in the 76-day period before their boss was going to leave office, gave or loaned money to entities that had no business plan?
Correct.
No financials?
Correct. A number of those were before the 76-day period as well. I've come in with great concern about how this institution, this great American institution, has been run and how American taxpayer money has been handled.
The people running the Department of Energy for President Biden's administration shoveled $93 billion out the door in 76 days, and it just happened to be the time between when President Trump was elected and President Biden, their boss, was leaving. Is that right?
Correct and distasteful. Confidence undermining.
My God.
Real estate experts make stunning U-turn on 2025 housing prediction. Predictions at home prices we keep climbing in 2025 have missed the mark badly. I tried to help a guy here that has a large podcasting program, and I said, hey, we ought to get together because the real estate market is going to take a terrible crash. He said, well, why is this? I said, only real money is going to be used and only 1% of the public own it. But you, being a Ted head, are one of them. Congratulations. Real estate experts now say out of the whack home prices in many parts of the U.S. are expected to drop. It'll be the first time since 2011. Zillow Economist delivered a 12-month forecast that projects that U.S. home prices on average will fall by 0.9% between April 25th, 2025 and April 2026. I think that number is very, very low. You're going to see housing prices get cut in half.